Niners Weekly for Week 6 of the 2023 season. I'm Nick, as always, joined by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad.
Hey.
And now a little something different. Corporate office gave Woody the night off. And when we go to the bench for a pinch hitter, we go straight to the top. Everybody welcome associate head coach, first man off the bench, Toby Bicknell.
Happy to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right. It's always a special occasion when Coach Bick's on with us. We're going to have some fun tonight. Let's get into last week's action. We're going to move through this because if you followed what happened all weekend long in Ruston, particularly yesterday, there's some cool stuff we got to talk about. And honestly, some of this story, we haven't even heard it yet. So we've got Toby here to tell us he's our man on the scene to tell us exactly what in the world was going on down there in Ruston, particularly yesterday. So a look back at the week's events. Last Tuesday night at the Hayes, it was cold. The Niners jumped out to a 2-0 lead over the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, behind back-to-back homers from Cam Fisher and Will Butcher. And that was really freaking awesome. And quite frankly, it's the last thing I remember because I got really cold after that. And I don't know, I must have blacked out. I'm told the final was 16-3, but enough about that. Kevin, then we went and got on a bus and went to Ruston. Why don't we talk about that instead?
First Conference USA weekend, Friday night, Wyatt Hootapole continued to do good things on the mound. 6.1 innings, 2-run ball, 4 Ks and 2 walks. We went up against Conference USA preseason pitcher of the year, preseason All-American Jonathan Fincher, and he lived up to the billing, held Niners to just 1 run. Niners dropped the first game of the series 2-1. Go ahead to Saturday, Nick.
Yeah, so moving on there, Niners needed to get back in the series, and boy, did they. The Niner bats came alive. The offense drove in 14 runs. Everybody got in on the hit parade. Blake Jackson had 3. Cam Fisher had 4. Jake Cunningham had a pair of hits. So did Brandon Stallman. Jack Dragum in a resurgent role had 3. And then, and this is one of the great stories of the weekend, Dante freaking DeFranco had 5 hits on Fridays, and on Saturday, and Spencer Nolan also chipped in a pair. Not a single one of those 22 hits, which is really impressive when you score 14 runs. Not a single one of those 22 hits was a home run, but there were 6 doubles. On the mound, Sam Conti got the start, went 4 innings in his first start as a Niner, and Paxton Thompson picked up the W out of the pen with 2.1 innings pitch. So the Niners got back into the series on Saturday in a big way, which sets up the big game on Sunday.
You got a rubber match Sunday, Conference USA series on the line. Predicted Conference USA winner, La Tech. The Niners put Cam Hansen on the mound, and Cam was very impressive. 7.2 innings pitched, shutout ball. Really impressive outing for Cam. Evan Michelson finished off the game 1.1 scoreless innings to preserve the shutout. Niners offense kept rolling, 9 runs on the board, 13 hits. Dragum went 4 for 4, drove in 2, and he was wearing some blue suede shoes that we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah. Strange weekend. There's a lot to talk about here, Coach. Let's just start unpacking the weekend at Louisiana Tech. I know you've got a lot of thoughts, and you saw a lot, and you heard a lot. This was the weekend that we needed, that we all needed for a number of reasons. We need some dubs, which we always need dubs, but in particular, Louisiana Tech had kind of been sort of a thorn in our side or an obstacle to overcome. And even beyond just the Bulldogs, that stadium in particular has not always been very kind to the Niners when we've gone down there for the conference tournament. So let's start unpacking the week, Coach. What'd you see? What'd you experience?
Well, you're going to play a good team. They're going to be well coached. Coach Burrows, Coach Fouts, Coach Gaspard, they do a great job. It's going to be a long travel day because you're flying to Dallas and then you're busing 4 hours to Ruston. And so the guys, we do a great job with travel, and Tyler Simmons heads up all of our itinerary and the logistics of how we travel. So it's always first class. But you get to Ruston late Thursday, go in, have a light practice. You hit about, 7:30, 8 o'clock. You've got a meal before and a meal after, so the guys get to eat. And then it's, and then you're teeing it up on Friday night. And on Friday night in Conference USA, you're going to be seeing really good arms. And you're going to be playing excellent teams. So Fincher did a really good job. Wyatt Hudapole with another really great outing. He's got the look, I guess is the way Coach Woodard would describe it right now. He's got the look of a guy that is really dialed into his craft and what he's doing. Low scoring affair, fairly quick game. And they did a great job of keeping us off the board. We made some defensive lineup changes with some guys starting in the game with Spencer Nolan at first base and then Dante DeFranco going into center. We played really good defense all weekend behind those guys that got on the mound. And so, it's good to see Spencer Nolan out there. He's got a ton of range at first base and has great hands, so he can make every infield throw look better. And Dante DeFranco, he's a staple in our program. He's been here for 3 years. He's been working his tail off since the day he got here. He's got great energy. And so it was good to see him get in the lineup. And then obviously it was great to see him do what he did on Saturday with 5 hits, and all of them were big. Every single hit that he had, it was huge. And you just see his confidence building with each at bat. So, he made some really nice defensive plays as well. So did Spencer Nolan. And then obviously, kind of talking about Sunday with the blue cleats. So we had a little bit of a bus issue. And with that bus issue on Sunday morning, the battery was dead. The bus wouldn't start. And since the bus won't start, you can't unlock the doors underneath where a lot of guys keep their gear. So some of our guys didn't have batting gloves or helmets or cleats. And, Coach Woodard, we were delayed. So I was in a rental car and we were shuttling guys, to and from on Sunday morning, which was always fun. Kind of lightens the mood of a big Sunday rubber game coming up. And we were teeing off at 11 o'clock Central Time. So it was an early tee time. And so shuttling the guys over there, we had to fit Hale Sims in the front of a Kia rental car. It looked, I'm not going to lie. I looked at Hale. He was in the second group that I drove over. I looked at Hale. I said, Hale, I feel like this isn't a cartoon somewhere. Like, you're the silverback gorilla that we're trying to jam into a little, circus car. But Hale was fine with it. You know how funny he is. He shrugged it off. But so we shuttled the guys over. Coach Woodard talked to Coach Burrows, and they were able to loan us some cleats and some batting gloves. And that was awesome. We pushed the start time of the game back to about 11:20, so we had a little bit more time to get ready. And then we ended up figuring out. So we had a couple guys wearing blue cleats. So Jack Dragon wore blue cleats. He had 4 hits. Jake Cunningham, I think, had a couple of hits, and he had a big 2-run homer.
Right.
So it was an interesting Sunday, but it was awesome. It was really great. If you're looking at the entire weekend, we really pitched and we really played defense, all 3 games. And, we got a great start from Sam on Saturday. The bullpen came in and did a heck of a job. We strung all those hits together, obviously highlighted by Dante DeFranco. And then, you start looking at Sunday and you're on the road and you're playing in a place that, the team's picked to win the league and they've got a really talented group. And to see our guys come out and just really rally behind Cam Hansen and the outing that he had on the mound, because, he was really good. I don't think he gave up a hit until the 4th or the 5th.
It was an infield single too.
It was a questionable hit. I'm not the official scorekeeper, so I don't want to debate that part of it. I don't think I would have scored it a hit, but it is what it is. And so to just keep those guys off the board, a couple of times where he had 2 on, 1 out, or 2 on and 2 out, and Cam worked out of those jams, or we made a play behind him, like just outstanding to see the guys rally behind him. And then for us to just, be really resilient on offense and to keep chipping away, keep fighting, swinging at pitches that we can handle with our hitting coach. Phil Siebehard does a great job of prepping our guys. And just to see our guys finally, stand in there, get a couple of really good pitches to hit. And whether we hit the homers or not, right, it's proof that we can score runs. And I think, one of the things that we did this weekend, which was really awesome, was I know the bottom of the order, like the bottom of the order was getting on base a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was Dante DeFranco getting 5 hits, whether it was Spencer Nolan drawing a walk, we had Austin Knight, Jack Dragum, somewhere in there, but having big nights where, you're able to turn the lineup over another time or two. And so that brings up, Caden Hobson and Cam Fisher and Jake Cunningham. That just brings them up a whole nother time through the order.
Coach, I don't know if y'all had these discussions, but we did. Well, it really wasn't a discussion. We made the offer on Twitter. We tweeted Louisiana Tech baseball and thanked them for all the help that they had given, and we actually offered to buy those blue cleats off of them and just name their price, and we never got a number. So hey, we had that kind of game in those cleats. I'm trying to buy them for us, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong to offer. You're not wrong. I'm not saying I'm superstitious, but we can be a little stitious.
Be a little stitious.
We can be a little stitious.
When you're balling out in blue cleats like that, I'm like, well, how much do you want for the cleats? Whatever. Let's buy them. Some people were suggesting we steal them, and I was like, no, I don't think we want to do that. They were just being very classy, but maybe we should offer to purchase them. And they never got us a number, so yeah. Kevin and I were trying to buy those cleats.
Yeah, they didn't really match well with the unis, but I did see Cal Clark had some red cleats.
He did. Well. Cal had red cleats on. His cleats were stuck on the bus as well. So
yeah. We'll get into this bus trip, but I'm curious if is the equipment in Charlotte, North Carolina? Is everyone's equipment in Charlotte, North Carolina?
All the equipment, yes, we ended up flying back with the bag. So we deadheaded a bus there, which means that we packed the bus on Wednesday. The bus drives, meets us, picks us up, and then we have all of our stuff there without having to check all those bags at the airport. So on the way back, we kept all of our baseball equipment and checked the bags on the airline. So, kudos to Coach Simmons and two of our managers, and Jordan Bowman and Ethan Kurtz, and then also Donna Nemo helping out, our athletic trainer. Like, they did a great job of just helping with everything and making sure that everything went smooth. It's if you're traveling and you don't expect problems, you're probably going to be disappointed. So when they show up, you just go, we're good at it these days. You roll with the punches and, you figure it out. Control what you can control.
Just want to remind everybody, if you're out there watching live on YouTube tonight, we can see a few of you out there. Feel free to drop a shout out in the comment section or ask a question. Yeah, you've got Toby here. If maybe you want to ask Toby some movie trivia or something,
I'd be happy to talk about that.
He talks about Coach Bick will literally talk about whatever. So
we were just talking about gangs in New York earlier. So
yeah, we were. We had to break up a really good conversation to start this show, but yeah, so we were just having a bit of fun. So, there were some, and you did such a great job of touching on some themes. One, going back to Friday, the continued emergence of Wyatt Hootapole, and we've talked to Woody about this as well. And when we talk to people out in the community, in Niner Nation about, what's going on with the team from week to week, from game to game, coming into the season, we expressed a lot of confidence in a number of guys. And Wyatt Hootapole was somebody that we made a lot of positive comments about. And, he's been kind of getting his feet under him as the season started, and then bam, last week he goes and sets a school record, and then this week he comes back and he goes toe to toe with the preseason All-American and has another good outing, 2 runs in 6 innings. But when people say things like, "Well, why do you think he's going to be able to do that?" It's because we saw him do it. Wyatt Hootapole was really good in the fall, and he was even better in the preseason. We saw him carving up our lineup, which I think has proven it can hit the baseball a little bit. But that's huge. That's 2 straight quality starts from Wyatt Hootapole, and he looks like he's rounded into shape just just at the right time as we hit our stride in conference play.
Yeah, Coach Woodard and Coach O have done a really nice job with him, and it's a big credit to the way that we develop pitchers, but it's also a really big credit to Wyatt and just his tenacity and his the way he goes about his business on a daily basis. Like you can tell he's got like the perfect combination of being intense but also being really even keeled. I think if I was taking a guess, I'd say a lot of that comes from playing high school football like he did, and being a high school quarterback. Because there's certainly aspects of being a high school quarterback that equate to being a college pitcher, right? And that you are kind of the center of the game and everything revolves around you. But you can't let the moment be too big for you. And Wyatt's done a really good job of defining the moment, on Friday nights when he toes the rubber. And like you said, started in the fall, continued in the early spring. Building momentum into the season. So he's done a fantastic job. Our guys love playing behind him. One of the things that I would say as a coach that gets to be around him when he's pitching and when he's not pitching is he's the first guy out of the dugout every half inning when he's not pitching, to get the other starter to pump the guys up. And, I think there's a lot to say for that. And, just for the way that he goes about his business and being an awesome teammate, being an awesome leader, and then obviously spearheading the pitching staff on Friday night.
Coach Cam Hansen on Sunday, he ended up winning the Conference USA Pitcher of the Week today for his performance on Sunday. Talk a little bit about his performance this year and on Sunday.
So Cam is got a really good repertoire of the ability to throw a changeup, the ability to throw the breaking ball, and then the ability to locate the fastball. And so, on Sunday, yesterday, gosh, it seems like it was last week, but it was just yesterday. He just was able to do a really good job of, at times pitching backwards and pitching off the changeup and pitching off the slider and, doubling up or, switching up between those two and then going to the fastball. And just changing things up. Him and Caden Hobson worked really well together when he was on the mound. And I thought Caden did an outstanding job of calling pitches yesterday as well. That doesn't need to get lost in the shuffle with Niner back there, commanding the pitching staff and calling the game as well. So, Cam was in control. And I think, he was poised. Even the catcher, Corona, who had a really good day on Saturday, with a couple of homers and a double, like even Corona, like he was able to keep him off balance and really pitch hard inside against him and get some guys out because they've got some really good hitters in that lineup. They've got some guys that can hit for power. They've got some guys that can beat you deep, but they've also got some guys that can, handle the bat and spray the ball around the field. So it's a tough lineup to pitch to. And I thought Cam did a great job.
We've seen Cam have performances like that before and be successful, but I'm not sure, Coach, if I've ever seen him that outwardly confident. He looked great on the mound. He was strutting. He was coming as he walked, just the way he was walking onto and off of the field. He was just exuding a lot of confidence, and that might be more confidence than I've ever seen from Cam, or that I recall seeing. You would be a better subject matter expert on that than I would, but I can't recall another time.
No, I think you hit the nail on the head, and Coach Woodard's been, he's been meeting with those pitchers a lot in different aspects and different groups on the team, not just the pitching staff, but you start to see these guys get into the season and you don't want to say get their feet wet early, but the first couple times out, especially early in the season, everybody's going to be nervous because everybody cares. Everybody wants to be out there. You've been training for this for a year. And then to see guys kind of start to get into the rhythm of the season and build confidence from one good outing to another good outing. And then, again, with a lot of the mental stuff that we do on the pitching side, I think you're starting to see some guys really come into their own and, believing in themselves. And then also letting that carry over into how they carry themselves on the mound when they go out there, when they're there, and then on the way back in. And so you're right. I think I think my mom could go to the ballpark and tell you who the most confident guy on the field is, right? People can see it. And it was pretty evident that Cam had, he was really confident yesterday. And everybody competes better when their confidence is high.
Speaking of Coach, Dante DeFranco, he's in a third year in the program. Hadn't seen the field much, but this year he's been inserted into the lineup here and there. And this weekend he got 3 starts in center field. Saturday, huge day for him, 5 for 5. I think 3 ribbies. Talk a little bit about his time here at Charlotte and what you see from him on a day-to-day basis.
So Dante's probably one of the most popular guys on the team. He's got great energy. He works his tail off. He's a great teammate. And, he's been like that from day one. We recruited him our first fall here out of Pro 5 in North Carolina, up in Raleigh. Saw him play, just loved the way he played catch. He can play multiple positions. He in an inter squad, he will literally play short, third, second, center field, left field, right field. I'm sure if we needed him to play first base or catch, he could. He had a bet going on one of our practices, I think week 1 or week 2 of the season, that he could hit 87 or 88. I think he hit 90 on the mound. I think he hit 90. So
Wow.
Not short on confidence. Another guy that played high school football was a slot receiver. I think he might have played a little high school basketball early in his high school career, but he comes from a great family. He's got a great work ethic, and he really has. Like he's been all in since day one. He's been a fantastic teammate. He's traveled. He's played infield. He's played outfield. And it's like Coach McKibben said 2 weeks ago. He was like, Dante DeFranco was, he was front squatting. I think it was 225. And for a guy that might not have the largest stature on the team, he works his tail off in the weight room too. And so, to see that all come to fruition, the same starting lineup's not going to run out there every single day for 56 regular season games. And so, when we have the opportunity to get guys in the lineup, and obviously his first start coming against, I think it was UNC Asheville, he started at shortstop for us. We won that game. He started, did he start Friday night against Old Dominion and we won that game as well? I don't know if it was Friday or not against Old Dominion, but he started another game. And then, you start just seeing his name in there more and more and more. And, he gets those opportunities and he makes the most of them.
Right. I think we've seen him center field, shortstop, I think second base this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he made a heck of a play opening weekend, second base.
Right.
That Old Dominion game Friday, Coach, he started at second base on Friday night against Old Dominion.
I'm glad I remember that correctly. So
yeah. Honestly, though, and we talk about this all the time with a story like Dante's is why people like college sports. Because, a guy that's recruited out of high school spends some, he's just everywhere, wherever he can get on the field, and doesn't get as many opportunities as I'm sure he'd like, because everybody wants to play. Nobody joins a team to sit on the bench. And when he's ready, when his number's called, he just goes out there and just makes a difference. And it's fantastic. It's why people, like I said, it's why people love college sports.
It is. And it's one of the things that makes coaching so much fun is when you get to be around guys like that every day when you come to the field. That guy's got a smile on his face every single day. Every time you call his name to go into the game or to start a game, he jumps up like he's sitting on a spring. And, we tell these guys all the time, if you're always ready, you don't have to get ready. And Dante is always ready. And it's awesome to see him do what he did. And, I don't know if there was a microphone close enough to the dugout to hear the team every time he got one of his 5 hits or made a play. Like, his teammates love him. And I think that says a lot about him as a player, him as a young man, and him as a leader.
And according to Will Butcher on Twitter, Kevin, we saw this. Apparently, Dante said he was going to go crazy on Saturday, and he did.
Well, I'm glad he did. It helped. Every single one of those hits was huge. So.
Yeah, he had a big day. So we got a couple other kind of continuing with that theme, guys that are sort of newer to the lineup. And this is a decidedly between Dante and Spencer Nolan. These are decidedly defensive decisions that are being made here. But I love that it's always great. The game rewards you, right? You make defensive decisions and suddenly get rewarded with offense. But Spencer Nolan, you mentioned him as well, and he is showing some elite level defensive skills at first base. Young man, 20 games into his college career, and is playing a key role. But he played a key role this weekend, not only defensively at first base, but he got you some hits too.
He did, and Spencer's another North Carolina high school player that we recruited. We saw him play in American Legion ball during the summer. He was playing in the American Legion State Tournament. Another high school shortstop, just like Dante, and. Spence moved around a lot in the fall. He worked out some at first. He worked out at short, second, third, first. And, he's every bit of 6'5". And so obviously he's a great target over there. He's a shortstop, so he can make a lot of different kinds of throws, and he's an athlete. Also a high school basketball player. His Hoggard high school basketball team made a pretty deep state run last year when he was a senior. And so, Spence has done a great job for us. He is really, really athletic. His baseball is ahead of him. He's a guy that knows the zone. Even as a high school player, he knew the zone really well and wouldn't chase a whole lot. And Coach Siebehar has done a really good job of, getting him a little bit more, I guess what you would say, offensive. Spence has done a great job in the weight room with Coach McKibben. And then just all the different drills that we do offensively, like Spencer is a name that you're going to be hearing a lot from, and he's an exciting young player. Would even go as far as to say, he might remind some people of a young Jake Cunningham in the way Jake looked when he was a freshman.
You took it. I was about to ask you the same thing, and you just went right with it. He looks like Jake to me. I mean, if you want to know what Jake Cunningham looked like as a freshman, look at Spencer Nolan. That's what he looked like, before a couple years in the program and on the weight room and all that stuff. That's what he
nutrition, weight room. Yep. That's what he looked like. And Spencer can go out in the outfield too. He can play second. He can play short. He can play third. He can play left, center, right. I think the only thing him and Dante haven't done is catch.
Well, let's hope they don't have to.
Yeah,
let's hope they don't. I don't think they will.
Speaking of Cunningham version 1.0, he had 2 big homers on the week, and his bat's coming alive after starting the season. Not playing, he was injured to start the season. So talk a little bit about Cunningham, the way he's progressed since coming off the injury list.
Well, it's not easy. It's not easy being injured to start the year. It's not easy being injured, period. And I think, Jake's done a really good job, along with Donna Nemo, our athletic trainer, and Eric McKibben, our baseball performance coach, of, having a plan and staying on that plan and, keeping his spirits up, knowing that every day he's one day closer. Just from a physical progression to a strength progression to a hitting progression to a throwing progression. Like, Jake hasn't taken any days off. And he's such a talented young man. I mean, maybe the most bat speed I've ever seen live of anybody that I've coached. The ball explodes off his bat. And so I think what you're seeing from Jake is you're seeing just the maturity that comes with being a third-year guy, being a junior in college. And he's got a ton of confidence. We've got a ton of confidence in him. With that, he's just setting himself up for success moving forward as far as, how this season goes and the opportunities that he's going to have and, being in the middle of the lineup because, that's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to be in the top 5 of a really good lineup on a really good team that's going to play the kind of schedule that we do. And so Jake knows he's going to get pitched tough, just like Cam, just like Knighty, just like Butch, just like Hop or Blake Jackson or any of those guys. So, it's good to see him, like, when he does have an at-bat that might not turn out as successful as he wants it to, it's good to see him handle it, mature and, like, take it for what it's worth, evaluate it, and then move on. And then, boom, he's right back into the next at-bat. And so I think you're going to see him have even more success this year than he has in years past, just because he's more mature.
There was I think it was yesterday where Jake did a first to third. And I remember thinking at the time that, and it's a day to day, and I know whether when you're trying to recover and trying to get back on the field, the temperature plays a lot into this, and, you're trying to, just trying to get your body feeling right. But he had a first to third yesterday where he moved. From my perspective, we were watching on TV, obviously, and for those of you who are also watching on TV with us, the camera work yesterday was well, I don't know what to say.
Conference USA-esque.
It was Conference USA-esque. There were a couple times, Coach, where the ball got like Cam slapped one to right field, and the camera immediately panned to left field.
Okay, nice.
Oh yeah, there were actually times that we found out that whether we were batting or playing defense, we were watching the players we could see to see how they reacted. Like when there was one where they just stayed on Cam, on Cam Hansen, the ball went up in the air, and we're just watching Cam. Cam started jogging to the dugout. That meant the ball was caught out.
Yep.
That was a third out. But he on that first to third, I thought Jake moved the best that I've seen him. As far as with not only the comfort with which he seemed to be moving and the speed with which he seemed to be moving. I don't know. I thought it was encouraging. I'll take that.
We all will. It's good to see him feeling better. It's good to see him out there moving around, and he just keeps getting healthier and healthier every day. So,
speaking of the camera work, was replay an option this weekend?
That's a great question. I have no idea, but there were definitely a couple calls that didn't get replayed at all that I was kind of surprised by.
Yeah, I don't know if it was because of the camera situation or what, but I don't remember any.
There were no challenges.
I don't know if it was feasible to challenge because
I don't know if there was either. I really didn't even ask Coach Woodard at any point in time, because the only plays that I saw that were possibly going to get challenged were plays where we were on defense and they were called out.
There was a couple plays like a bunt that hit the knob of the bat or hand.
Oh yeah, they didn't challenge that one. Yeah, they didn't challenge that one.
So I assume because he came out and argued, Burrows came out and argued that one, and I would assume that if he was arguing that he would have challenged it, but I don't know. Well, that's good. I'm glad I asked the question. But so I guess normally when you start a weekend series, is that something that's talked about up front with Coach Woodard, or is that
the head coaches will discuss it obviously prior to the series starting, and they'll discuss it at the plate meeting. So they'll break it down. Usually Friday night plate meetings last a little longer than Saturday and Sunday. I'm sure you guys have noticed that from past couple weekends at the Hayes.
Well, we really noticed it on the first opening day when we were sitting down there getting ready to throw out the first pitch. And Coach Woodard, I think they played the whole Top Gun soundtrack while we were standing there waiting to throw out the first pitch.
I think they played it 3 times, yeah. They might have played it 3 times.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, I'm loose. Like, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I need to throw this ball, please.
Yeah, I think that affected our performance a little bit.
I wasn't loose. I was just ready to get back in the stands.
Yeah, I thought you guys did great.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
I don't know if we got back to you, but we after that we officially retired.
Yeah, I know how that feels. Some days my shoulder doesn't feel that great either.
No, that's not the deal. We've done opening day 2 years in a row, and we're 0-2. So, yeah, it's like the blue cleats. We're retired.
Not superstitious, but we are a little stitious.
Little stitious. So Kevin and I, on the very next show, we actually had a statement prepared about all the time we were looking forward to spending with our families in the stands on opening day. Now that we're officially retired. That's right.
Okay. Hey, I can buy into that. I mean, that's kind of what we did on Saturday when me and Phil switched, and I went to coach third base, and Phil went back to the dugout.
Yeah, that's a great point you bring up, Coach, because you guys had switched around a little bit over the last couple of weeks. In fact, we had you. I mean, we're kind of used to seeing you at third base. You were back in the dugout for a little bit.
I was for like I think it was like 2 weeks, maybe it was 3 weekends. Yeah. Anyways, it's just one of those things. I mean, Phil does a great job coaching third base, and he does a great job of running the offense when he's in the dugout. You stand right next to Coach Woodard, and there's great conversations that happen with regard to what we want to do here, and do we want to bunt? Do we want to put a guy in motion? Do we want to hit and run, or do we just want to let him hit? Different aspects of things, and when you're at third base, some people think it's complicated. I don't think it's that complicated. You wave the fast guys and you stop the slow ones. But you're directing traffic. It's not quite as stressful as probably an elementary school morning drop off. But that just depends on how much caffeine all the parents have had. So
nowhere near as stressful.
Yeah. So
Kobe, you have an amazing way of simplifying the complicated.
We'll take that.
You send the fast ones and you stop the slow ones.
Yeah. But no, so we just, me and Coach Woodard and Coach Siebehar, we were talking on Saturday, and it was like, hey, let's change it up. Like, I'm going to go back to third. Phil's going to come back in the dugout. And lo and behold, it worked. And so we did it again on Sunday, and it worked. And, not that that's the reason we win or lose, but, sometimes just making small adjustments to this or to that, can help. So it's good to be back.
I'm telling you, I agree, Coach, because when the Friday before last, when Wyatt set the school record and had such a great outing, I missed it for my nephew's birthday party. I told the whole story on here, but the long story short was I missed it. I could have gotten here for the last few innings, but seeing the way things were going, I refused to come out here. I refused to go to the stadium, and then I actually offered to just stay home, like until, but I'm told that's not necessary. But I'm like, hey, if I'm the problem, Dick, I'll stay home.
Yeah, so I felt the same way last year about softball. If I showed up at one of their games, like even for an inning, like I would show up and the other team would start scoring runs. And so I told Coach Chastain, I said, hey, Skip, like, I'm not saying it's my fault that you guys lost, but just to be on the safe side, like, I'm not coming to any more games, even if it's for 2 innings or 1 inning. Like, I'm just going to keep my head down and walk toward a baseball field. Because I think it was like 4 games. It was like 4 home games that I stopped at. We were up 1-0, or we would be up 5-2, and then like the other team would score 3 runs and it'd be tied in the 6th, and I'd be like, I feel like this is my fault. I need to leave.
It's disheartening, isn't it? I mean,
I didn't take it personal. I just didn't want to be the reason that the Niner Gals didn't get a W. So,
speaking of, Coach, I hear that you deserve a lot of credit for our newest venture, the Diamond Niner Gals podcast. We put it out there to a select group of minds to think of a name for this new podcast that we're talking about for softball, and we hear that you're the one that came up with the Diamond Niner Gals.
I don't know if I came up with that or not. I think I might have resonated it to Coach Chastain. The Niner Gals, it's got a good ring to it. She liked it, so happy to help. But they had a good weekend too. They won 2 or 3 down at FAU, right?
Sure
they
did.
did.
Second series win, second Conference USA series win in a row. So they're in second now. Are they in second in the standings, Conference USA?
They are 1 game out. Comment coming in on the chat, Coach. Somebody wants to make sure if Phil is going to go back out to third, that you teach him how to hit the deck when he wants a slide. That's kind of your thing. I mean, can you teach him how to do that?
I can. It's called burpees. It's just the burpee without the second half of the burpee. That's all it is.
Well, and frankly, the second half of the burpee is the half that sucks.
Yes, we can say sucks on this podcast. So yes, it's the second half that sucks the most. Yes, that's what makes them challenging.
Yeah,
when you can't teach them the instinct though. When you drop down like that, it's instinct.
It is. It's like it's in the heat of the fire, right?
Right.
And it's usually Nate Furman. It's usually like a Nate Furman coming in. So that adds a little bit.
You really want to reciprocate. You want to reciprocate the energy, right?
That's and it's tough to reciprocate that kind of energy. But Dragum coming in yesterday for the triple, like that was pretty awesome. That was awesome.
That's a great segue. We're kind of working through some of these themes from the weekend. We've talked about some of the pitching and some of the guys that have come off the bench and provided some things, and Jake getting healthy and coming around, and here he comes again. Looks like Jack Dragum's heating up at the right time.
He is. Jack hasn't always been the fastest starter of the season, but this is about that time that Jack gets going and just kind of starts doing his thing. He had a big 2-out, 2 RBI knock on Saturday. He had another couple of big RBIs yesterday, and played really good defense and anchored the infield at short. I think his first hit, his first couple of hits just got through the infield, which good hitters are going to find a way to get a ball through a hole. And then, he hammered that triple at the end. When he got to third, he was like, I thought I got all of that. I thought it was leaving the yard. I thought it was a home run. And I was like, really? I didn't think it was going out. But
he didn't miss it by a whole bunch.
Well, from the camera work, I thought he had it, but
okay. Yeah, I think it didn't. I think it for me, like I just didn't hear it make that sound when it came off the bat, and so I was like, that ball's carrying. And then I saw the outfielder turn his back to the field to play the ricochet, and I was like, oh, let's go, Jack. Triple, So we don't get a lot of those.
It's always good when you see that.
It's tough to hit a triple at the Hayes.
Yeah. It's always good when you see the outfielder. You see the outfielder's back, right?
That's an easy one for the third base coach to keep cranking your arm. Yeah. So we always joke that the guys always – I tell them, I'm like, hey, like if you hear me yelling, if the louder I yell at you to run, usually means the slower I think you are in the heat of the moment. So it's like, if it's like I'm cranking a guy, and I'm like, you gotta go, Butch. That's like, I feel like the louder I yell, the faster he's gonna run. Or if it's Jack, or if it's anybody else, if it's somebody like Fish or Cunningham or Blake Jackson, it's like score,
So there's a correlation between how you're yelling and how quick and how fastly they move.
I don't know that me yelling louder makes them run faster, but in the moment, I have found that I'm never yelling that loudly about going and scoring and getting down and let's go to fast guys.
You don't have time. They're too fast. You don't have time.
Yeah, when you're faster, it's like score. When you don't think they're as fast, it's you feel like your voice has to provide them with some
push
momentum.
There you go.
Well, we need to get on and maybe start talking about next week. We do have a content suggestion coming in.
Great.
Yeah, and producer Brad, this might be something we could work up at the Hayes sometime. I'm just going to read this to you as it came in. How have we not seen the Coach Bick cam yet? That would be entertaining as hell.
Depends on if there's a microphone with it.
Well, I mean, we could always edit it up later. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. I've been told that I move around a lot, so might have to have a good swivel on that thing.
Well, I mean, clearly, because I mean, we've been talking about you laying on the ground and the whole thing. So yeah, of course you move around a lot. I mean, duh. I don't know.
So
what do you think about that
now? What do we got next? Is this the preview? Are we previewing what's going on for this week?
Let's do the week ahead, right? The week ahead.
Yeah, you want to talk about the week ahead? Let's talk about the week ahead. Let's get here. All right. First of all, there's a read in here, Toby. We have a read in. We're very professional around here.
All right, I'm going to grab the water while you do this.
Yeah, go ahead, dude. Go ahead. This is, it's Toby Bicknell's world. We're just living in it. Brought to you by our friends at One Campus. We want to remind you that the deadline to have your orders for baseball gear included in the upcoming batch is March 24th. So check them out at onecampusco.com. So we've talked to you about those guys. They're making some really cool baseball gear. You've had a chance to see some of that stuff at the Hayes now. So if you want to get some baseball gear, I know for a fact producer Brad just spent his life savings with One Campus and has some new Niner gear incoming. So he's broke, but he's very excited about being broke and getting his gear.
I think my bank account has recovered from round one, and we may be making another purchase here soon because there's softball and baseball gear in this order.
Yeah. So bank accounts, much like rules, were made to be broken. So just
you got your Bailey Vanoy jersey. Like, is that what you got softball gear wise?
No, they don't offer that yet. Maybe
that hasn't happened yet. Now I do know, and I don't know. I don't want to get us in trouble. I don't want to get us in trouble with Nick and Joel, but I do know that they have been working with the university on being able to offer potentially, hopefully, maybe if they can get through the red tape, maybe offering some NIL type jerseys. So maybe there potentially could be a Boo Vanoy jersey.
All right, now it's time for the guest of the show to do the questioning. And which number jersey would you wear? Yeah.
What number? Well, Kevin, you had a number.
Oh, I can't remember. It's been so long, but
you don't remember what number you were in high school?
I wore number 11.
Okay.
There's
20. But we're talking about jerseys of current players. So
current player.
Okay. Current player, it could be a past player. If you had to buy a jersey, what jersey you buy?
I'm definitely getting number 10.
Yeah.
Zach Jarrett. Yeah, Zach Jarrett.
Zach Jarrett.
Yeah. He wore it a little bit better than I did.
Or before that was Justin Seeger.
Was it Seeger?
Am I getting that one right? It seems like
Seeger. You're right. I think you might be right, Nick.
I think Sieg wore 10. I can tell you this, and hey, this is a great way because of the Grand Slam Club, which if you're not a member of the Grand Slam Club, you should go check that out at charlotte49ers.com. Because of the Grand Slam Club, I am the recipient of a game-worn number 2 JD Suarez jersey. So I have a brand new Nike white pinstripe JD Suarez jersey. So how about that?
Ooh, yes.
And I was able to get number 24 from last year. It's a pretty good one.
Big Maple.
He's got a Big Maple jersey.
Man. Now Cal Clark.
Cal Clark. Right, that's right. 24. Cal Clark, yep. Hopefully he's not wearing the red cleats this weekend.
It's always I've always, that's one of the things that I've always thought about numbers and like who wears numbers. Like, anytime you say number 17, I think about Chris Sabo because when I was growing up, like he was the one guy that I remember that wore 17. So like the one year I played in college, I couldn't wear 10. Somebody else had it. So I wore 17 because I was like, oh, Chris Sabo. Yeah, I wore 17. But it's always interesting to see who wears numbers in programs, and if you're a guy that, like Cal Clark right now is wearing 24, and in 10 years, somebody's going to be wearing 24, and they're going to be like, hey, David McCabe, Cal and Cal Clark both wore this number. I've always been intrigued by that. I think it's neat.
It is pretty cool. It's funny story, Coach. One time I think you guys were having a prospect camp right before scrimmage. Right before scrimmage, I think it is spring. And I walked in. I didn't realize. I forgot you guys had a prospect camp before scrimmage. And I walked in, and I saw number 3 on the mound in the Niners jersey. I was like, man, they got Dante on the mound. And it took me a few minutes to realize, oh man, they're still doing the prospect camp.
Yeah.
So funny little story there, but
Dante did hit 90 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So
on the mound.
So in the media guide, I guess they do have every player that's wore to each number now in the game notes. So it's pretty neat to see.
Okay. I haven't checked that out yet. I need to do that.
So it's a new addition this year from Mr. Templin, I guess.
Yeah, Joe's made some great improvements to the media guide, particularly in the area of the record book. But the question I thought you were asking, Toby, The last number that I recall picking myself, which is even longer ago than Kevin, because I was in no way good enough to play in high school. The last number I picked for myself, I'm pretty sure was 55. I selected number 55, and that was all about Oral Hershiser.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the reason.
He could do it.
The Bulldog.
Great book, by the way. His book. What is that? What's the name of it? I've got it somewhere. I've read it.
I haven't read that one.
Into the Blue, something blue. Yeah, it's really good.
I have not. Sounds like a good read. I'm gonna check that out.
Let me see if I can find it. I'll bring it to the yard. Just let you.
Yeah, we'll read it during the game.
Yeah, library. I'll let you check it out from the library. You know what I mean?
All right, Coach Bick's library.
Yeah, you can
Like,
bring
those
me a book.
neighborhood. We'll set up one of those things, like, in neighborhoods where they put up the little box. It's like a little bird, little birdhouse or something, but it's full of books, and you can go and get one out.
Yeah, you bring me a book. I'll read it. I'll bring you a book. You can read that one.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Works.
All right, moving on. Week ahead. Sorry.
So we got another question coming in. I'll ask this one because I'm curious. This is a great man. People get curious about Toby. They want to ask questions. So, and naturally, between a head coach and associate head coach, you guys have lots of situational conversations, whether it's in the dugout or you're just trying to figure out how to play different situations, right? So the question that's come in is, what can you say? What comment can you make about the situational conversations that you and Woody have over the course of a game? Like what's going on between you guys as you're talking through the course of a game?
Well, a lot of questions. So it'll be like, hey, do you want to do this here? Do you want to pinch hit this guy here? Or, is kind of what I'll ask him, or, he might ask me, hey, like, who do you like better, next inning in this situation on the mound? Or, do we need to put this guy in for defense? Do we need to put this guy in for offense? Just kind of like those back and forth questions. That's most of the conversations that we have during a game, is who are we thinking about moving? Who are we thinking about adding? Who do we think are the best guys to go to in different spots, in different situations, based off tendencies, splits, based off, previous success. And we do a lot of that too before a series or before a game starts. So, you guys know Coach Woodard. He's an elite level thinker. And so a lot of the things that we do are things that he's already thought about or watched film on or had written down on his game note sheet before the game even starts. So
which is more likely to happen, Toby? One of these conversations starts and which comment's likely to happen more often? Oh, that's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. Or, nah, you're right. I was thinking the same thing. Which one is more likely to happen?
I'm probably saying I'm probably the one that's saying I haven't thought about that. And Woody's probably saying, yeah, I like that. Let's do that. That's probably, I'm probably the one that's more like, I didn't think about doing that. Yeah, let's do that. And then Woody's probably the one that's like, I've already thought about that. I like that. That's a good idea. Let's do that. Or, occasionally I might crack a joke, just to keep the moment light. He'll chuckle.
We do that too on this show, actually. We
absolutely. Yeah.
Sometimes we just say stuff to him just to see what just see if we can throw him off a little bit or something. Just,
Yeah. Well, nothing beats joking after wins, and especially wins on the road and wins on the rubber match Sunday and wins on a getaway day.
Especially when you don't know how you're getting back to Dallas.
Also a really good point. Thank goodness for Coach Simmons and him. I think he left the game in the 7th to go make sure we had everything that we needed. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. We promised you a while back that we were going to move on to this week. So we're actually going to do it now. So big week coming up here, Tuesday. And, everybody looks forward to these games, playing in Uptown, playing at Truist Field, home of the Knights. first game of two, first game of two uptown, and first game of two against South Carolina. We also travel back down to Columbia late in the season. But the Gamecocks are coming in 20-1 after sweeping Georgia at Athens last weekend to start SEC play. I am going to go out on a limb and guess that the Gamecocks have likely not forgotten about that home L that the boys put on them in Columbia last season. We're in Truist Field, uptown Charlotte. Niner Nation's going to need to bring it because I can promise you that the Gamecock fans are going to be out in force. So
yeah,
if you don't have tickets, go to ticketreturn.com, go to the Charlotte Knights website and get some. You can't get those through the Charlotte site. You got to get them through the Knights. So if you haven't done that already, do that and grab a jacket and be ready to go tomorrow night. So,
yeah,
Coach.
let's go. Yeah. Well, the South Carolina's gotten off to a great start. And, they're going to be, I believe they're starting Eli Jersenbeck, who graduated from Providence High School last year and was the number one pitcher on a staff that went undefeated at Providence High School. I know he's gotten off to a good start so far in college. He's going to pitch with a lot of intensity. He's a competitive kid. He's got a really good fastball. He's got a really good breaking ball. And they're playing good baseball. So, Tuesday games, midweek games, anytime you get to play in Truist Park, in that ballpark, it's going to be exciting. The guys are going to be pumped. We need all the fans there because we know how much energy you guys provide to our team and helping us play better. And we're excited to compete and go toe to toe with another SEC team.
Just quickly grab the stats on Jersenbeck. 13 innings pitched, 138 ERA, 18 strikeouts against one walk. Man, that's going to be it's really going to suck for him when that one walk thing gets broken up by the Niner boys and all that plate discipline we bring. But
it looks like we're going with Colin Kramer on the mound to match up. So, Coach, I know you're a Charlotte native. Coach talks about this a lot. Tell us a little bit about what it means to play uptown Charlotte, Knight Stadium. I'm sure you spent lots of time going to the old ballpark growing up in Charlotte. Talk a little bit about being a Charlotte native and playing uptown.
Yeah, so we moved here in 90, and I had an opportunity to go to the old Knights Castle down at Fort Mill and watch Jim Thome and Sam Horn drop tank bombs every time I went to the yard. This is before Jim Thome got called up. So all those guys that played in the Indians organization. And, it was a haul from South Charlotte to go there. But I remember when this ballpark was being built and just the excitement around having an uptown ballpark and the skyline and the way they've laid it out. Going to Knights games, they host a ton of tournament games and college games there. So it's, this is our city. We recruit the state of North Carolina extremely hard. We recruit the city of Charlotte extremely hard. And so, representing the 9 letters that spell out the city of Charlotte across our chest and playing a game right in the heart of uptown, it means so much to us. It means so much to our staff and to our players. And so, when we show up tomorrow, we're going to be ready to play extremely hard, to play for this city, to play for each other. And, I know our guys are going to bring their A game.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I love it when we play at the Hayes, and I know we all do, but when we go up there, it does bring a different it brings a different fan out. It brings there are plenty of people that we have a hard time getting to the Hayes that will gladly come out to that game. And it's more centrally located. It's a phenomenal view. The beer's always cold. Although cold's not going to be a problem tomorrow night, I don't think. But you just sit those beers out on the concourse. I think they'll be just fine. Like you said, I remember going down to that park in Fort Mill, and they had some great players, but that was not. Let's be real. That wasn't a fun place to go. As far as a ballpark, it just
not near as alluring as Truist Ballpark uptown.
No. So we're going to get We'll get through that tomorrow night. Come on out. Like I said, grab a ticket, grab a jacket, and meet us at the ballpark. I know there'll be Niners throughout some of the local establishments that are bordering Truist Field. So put some green on, grab a jacket, grab a ticket, and let's go.
Let's go.
Then coming into the weekend, so for anybody that, of course, if you're listening to us, you get this. We are not content for the casual fan. This is if you're watching this, you're listening to this, you probably know what the deal is. But with the changes in Conference USA, the Niners are on their way out. Southern Miss and Old Dominion and Marshall have already gone out. Dallas Baptist has moved in, and this is their first season in Conference USA. And Coach, just a general comment here before we kind of dig into the series, but Dallas Baptist is, and you've spent a long time covering baseball in Texas. Dallas Baptist is one of those names that, like, it doesn't jump off the page like if I say LSU or something like that. But college baseball fans know about Dallas Baptist because they've been pretty good for quite a while.
Yeah, if you don't know about Dallas Baptist, you've probably been living under a rock because they're perennial regional. Going to regionals, hosting regionals, going to super regionals. Coach Hefner does a fantastic job there and has since he took over that program. They've come a long way. They've got a great fan base there in Texas, and they do a really good job of recruiting nationally. And the local state of Texas, they're very good. They're going to be very talented. I don't know if this is their first trip to Charlotte for a series. I think they came out and played.
No, they've been here.
They've been here.
Yeah.
We had a home and home. We had a home and home one, 13 and 14, I think.
Okay, so they've been here before, and I know they flew out here and played the Tar Heels, I think 3 seasons ago for a weekend series. They're going to be good. They're going to be talented. They play with an edge. They're very confident. So it's going to be a great challenge.
So they're coming in. They took 2 of 3 from FIU this weekend. They're 13-7 overall. They are, while we're playing the Gamecocks, they're going to be playing the Oklahoma Sooners before heading to the QC. They were picked to finish second in Conference USA behind Louisiana Tech in the preseason poll, which speaks to what everyone knows they're capable of. Interesting. I didn't realize this till I was really digging into it for the show. They were picked second in the league. Do you guys know how many players they had put on preseason all conference? Do you guys know? You're picked second in the league, right? So how many players would you expect to have on a preseason all conference if you were picked to finish second in the league?
4 or 5?
You would think. The actual number?
Sure.
0. Not a single one. They did. Maybe that's some of the, I don't know. Maybe that's some of the league not being as familiar with their players because they're new. Maybe. That could be a part of it. But they were familiar enough with them to vote them second.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be good. So we're going to have our hands full on Friday night. That's for sure.
So, yeah, big weekend. That 6 o'clock on Friday night back at the Hayes.
Temperatures will be great.
It is supposed to warm up the end of this week. So, absolutely. 3 o'clock on Saturday and then 1 o'clock on Sunday. So, get out. It should be a good weekend. And, you know, this is.
We got some giveaway. We got some giveaways.
You have the giveaways, Kevin? Kevin's always Johnny on the spot promotional schedule.
These are the listed promos. So Friday giveaway, reusable plastic cups.
I could always use some of those.
Saturday's got baseball bingo, and Sunday is Little League Day, Family Day, post game kids run the bases, and giveaway Charlotte CLT baseball trading card pack number 4. So I'm hoping this pack has number 10 in it.
Little League Day is always my favorite because I love it when the kids run the bases after the games. That's like pure joy, seeing the kids run around and do stuff.
Kevin, did you ever see pack number 3?
I think that was the rain out from ODU. So
you're right.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So Sunday's the baseball card next.
Maybe they're actually going to give away pack number 3 this week.
Well,
we'll see.
We'll see. I hope so. But yeah, those are your promos for the week. it's huge series at the Hayes. I mean, I know Tuesday's going to be fun uptown, but we really need a big crowd support the guys on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you can make it out to the campus, Dallas Baptist is a great baseball team. It's going to be a great college baseball atmosphere. So, like to say, pack the Hayes this weekend. Get your tickets. Going to see a lot of great baseball this weekend.
It's
Yeah,
going to be a lot of fun.
I'm preaching to the choir here, guys. I know that, but that's one thing that always gets me is Kevin and I have been actively involved in trying to preach the college baseball gospel among the fan base, and everybody gets excited about playing at Truist, which why not? But playing South Carolina, playing Chapel Hill, playing it's like all these games, and yeah, that's good. We should want to play them, and anytime you step on the field, you want to beat them, right? Mm-hmm. But we all kind of know it's kind of the local knowledge here. This weekend is just as important, if not more, because these conference series, especially going against somebody who's supposed to finish second. We've already taken a road series from the people who were picked to finish first, and now we've got a chance on our home field to get a series against the team that was finished second. I mean, I'm just speaking personally here, guys. And Toby, you can look at me and tell me I'm crazy, but I'm really interested in this weekend. I mean, tomorrow's great, going to be there, absolutely. I'm there, but this weekend's a real opportunity. Just me.
Yeah, the whole week is one game at a time, but you're right.
Yeah, I know. You're saying it right. It's just me. I'm like, I'm all over Dallas Baptist. Let's get that. Let's get those conference wins because that's what we got to do.
But we appreciate the passion. We really do.
So Kevin, you want to talk Conference USA since we got some standings real quick? You want to.
Real quick, the results from this weekend. There were two sweeps. UTSA swept FAU, which is a big series sweep for UTSA. They're playing a good ball this year, adding on to last year's success. Rice swept UAB this weekend, and then we had the other three series were 2-1 series. Charlotte beat La Tech 2-1. Middle Tennessee won 2-1 over Western Kentucky, and you mentioned before Dallas Baptist took their series over FIU. So Niners are, I guess, technically tied for third with the three teams that are 2-1 going into the weekend, the second week of conference play. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Coach, have you had a chance to pay attention to much of what's going on in Conference USA so far?
I'll say this. So if I'm not mistaken, the first thing I think is that UTSA, and they're such a great, as far as the quality of the product they put on the field, they're a great candidate to be going to the American with us. They're going to be a good addition. And they are, one, they got robbed last year and should have been in the NCAA tournament. Two, they were able to hold on to their coach, which I know some people were interested in him, and they're probably going to have to fend him off again after this year. But they always are gritty. They play tough baseball, and they're always somebody to be reckoned with. I mean, we have had some all-out wars with UTSA the last several seasons, and this season will be no different, I'm sure. I believe, and Kevin, you might know if I'm right or wrong here, but I think that the 2-3-0 teams, I think UTSA is going to Rice this weekend. So we're always trying to determine about where's Rice at, what are they doing. I know they've got a new pitching coach, so they've got a lot of optimism in Houston. But we'll find out between San Antonio and Rice. I think we're going to learn some things pretty quickly this weekend.
Right, and I think we got a couple more weeks till UTSA comes to town, but that's going to be a big series as well. But and I think Rice comes here as well, right? So no, they came here last year. I'm sorry.
We go to Rice, and they have the tournament.
That's right. Reckless Park. So yeah, I know you want to look at this week. Next game up, right, Toby? But UTSA is playing great right now, and that's good to see because everyone's kind of curious of whether they were did last year was a 1-year deal, or where there was sustained momentum there, and it looks like they've been sustaining their momentum from last year's good season. So that's just a overview of kind of what happened in Conference USA this week. Glad to be on the top end of the standings. So I think it's going to shuffle out as we go, obviously. So glad to be in conference play.
Left.
Yeah, glad to be. Glad to be in conference play. It's
real. Yeah, we got a long way to go, which is a good thing. We like having season left. So we got to get Coach Bick out of here, because I think if we keep overtime or something like that, and the corporate's never going to agree to that. So, you don't know we have corporate overlords, Toby?
Oh man, I just we all appreciate what you guys do. I can't thank you guys enough. I love being on here. I wish we had another hour and a half, because we could really break down some nonsense and movie trivia and probably some historical facts, and go down some rabbit holes of stuff. But
no doubt,
I always just appreciate the time and love coming on and hanging out with you guys. I can't wait to see you at Uptown tomorrow either. So
yeah, we'll be there. All right, folks, we're out of here. We're done. Look for this podcast wherever you find your podcast. If you're watching us on YouTube, click subscribe so you can be notified of new content. You can also find Diamond Niner Report on social media. We do Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but still and never TikTok. Reach out anytime you'd like. We love hearing from you. If you're old-fashioned like us, you can say hello at the ballpark, including tomorrow night or this weekend. For Kevin, producer Brad, Toby Bicknell, this has been Nick, and we'll see you. Well, I guess we'll see you at Truist Field tomorrow night. Go Niners.
Go Niners. See you guys.